Today on the Diz List, we discuss our 100th episode.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm still Rob, and welcome to episode 100,
Woohoo!
where we let the listeners take over the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've been waiting to say this part too, because I hadn't talked to you about this. Did you watch the roast of Tom Brady?
I got rid of Netflix a few months ago so I did not see. I saw clips. Some of it was pretty.
Well, it's raunchy. Don't play it around your kids, folks.
No.
But watching that, I finished up. I'm like, I hope we get some decent roasts, and a little celebration is good. I'm not, I don't need, attention like that all the time.
Right.
But I like it when people are showing their appreciation.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Well, you haven't been seeing this stuff come in.
No, and that's why
you didn't want to.
I don't want to. I'm super excited about it, and that's one of the more interesting things too. Is Nick does most of the social media and all the interaction, and I kind of do the audio, and I'm more of the engineer, the sound guy behind all of it. So that's kind of our roles that people don't necessarily know. Well, they can figure it out because a lot of the stuff when it's when people are interacting on social media, they probably know it's you, and I'm sure you.
Yeah, I usually try
sign
to
it, Nick.
I usually try to make sure people know who we're talking to.
Yep.
And we're that division of labor, so to speak, has worked out well for us. There's occasions where, especially when we're recording with somebody else, I'll put and stitch stuff together in on my software instead. But for the most part, yeah, you're the one who's running that show, and I'm kind of interacting and doing that thing.
Well, and then now we split the artwork, because originally I would do all the artwork.
Yeah.
So I did the logo. I designed the logo. We've never talked about this before either. So that Mickey Mouse hand I drew.
Right. And
the background, if you look closely, we chose some colors that we thought best represented Disney.
They're kind of like the Imagination Pavilion, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it started as. And if you look close, you can actually see sort of that triangular pattern that's on Spaceship Earth. You can see that. And I designed that logo. We chose the font that was actually the Epcot font. It's called Possibility, I believe.
Possibility Bold.
So then what ended up happening was I was doing graphics on a regular basis, and I'll be totally transparent. I would either forget or I would get super busy with doing this or that, and then Nick would kind of pick up the slack. So what has ended up happening is I sort of made these initial graphics, and then Nick takes over and just uses our standard font. I don't know if this is interesting or not.
Probably
I just think this is the episode. But this is the episode, and 99 was like this too, to kind of talk about everything under the hood. And if people are listening, they probably are at least moderately interested in hearing this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and the cool thing is that logo, you can get yourself a pin. Way to set me up there, Rob.
Oh.
You can get yourself a pin of that logo if you are a current patron, or if you sign up to be a patron before the end of our second year month, which would be July. We launched in July of 2022. And so if you are a patron before the end of July of 2024 at the Dumbo, Pilot, or Jungle Skipper levels.
Those are good names, by the way. I don't know if I've ever said that.
Oh, well, thank you, Rob.
They're cool.
So if you want to do that, and if you don't want to do that, you can always be a free patron, which is we talked a little bit about last week, because we actually named off all the free patrons.
And one of them was me.
Yeah.
Because I did it. We talk about this stuff, and I do it.
Yeah. So this week we're going to do things a little differently. We're not going to have a halftime show. I know Skittles is going to be upset about that.
If you haven't listened to the last episode, go listen to that one and then play this one.
Yeah. But we're going to do things a little differently. And because of that, I want to say this whole episode is brought to you by our patrons at the Jungle Skipper level. Now, these folks pay a fee every month, and what they get is early access as well as bonus content. And we are actually at the 50 episode mark, or 51 episodes of that. We released 51 episodes of.
It's some of my favorite stuff.
Oh, we have a blast over there. Not that we don't have a fun time here, but those ones, they're a little bit shorter form. and we're not as restricted to the list format. So,
and we record them after we do a full hour-long episode.
So we're a little
goofy.
Yeah. Yep.
If you think we're goofy now,
yeah,
you'll enjoy our well, I don't know if you'll enjoy it, but that's
at least
know
that's
goofy.
What
you're gonna get.
Yeah. So I'm gonna list off our patrons at the Jungle Skipper level. These people are the ones who are bringing you today's whole episode. We've got Dwayne H, Brian A, Brian S, Brian V. We're really big with the Brians. Bryn S, Courtney R, Craig H. We've got Emily P, Jackie A, Jessica W, Lindsay G, Melissa B, Mikey V, Nicola D, Patrick H, and we've got Rachel D, Rob D, Russell B, Sarah T, Stephanie S, Sherry H, Stacy W, and Travis P. Thank you guys so much. This episode is not possible without you. This 100th episode would not be going on without you. I think every time we get a new patron, Rob and I just look at each other and go, what?
Every time.
Every time.
We're excited every single time.
So thank you guys so much for being valued listeners, valued patrons, but really, honestly, and I send this message whenever anybody signs up, welcome to the Dizlist family, and I really feel that way. I have some amazing conversations with many of you. Thank you so much. So thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it. But that, we're not going to do a halftime show because today we're going to talk about, all of our listeners and what the nice messages they sent. And they sent us some good ones. But I want to start with a very special listener.
Is it that one on the piece of paper?
It is.
Oh my God.
It is.
I read one of them and I'm like, this is going to be gold.
So,
oh my God.
So some of our listeners know my daughter.
Yeah.
And
she's a little version of you.
And what I will tell you is what I'm about to read, if you aren't like privy to what I live with, you will know immediately. And I'm going to read them in the order that I think would be funniest. Because she said in no specific order.
Okay. Then you're allowed to.
Top 5 things the Diz List talks too much about. Okay? Hollywood studios being the least favorite or too hot.
Yep.
No,
fair.
The heat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Mustard mayo ketchup.
It's one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Yeah. Footwear. And the one that Rob read and was like, oh God.
Yep.
Being bald.
Being bald.
So
yeah, I'm a little more bald than you, but we're still both bald.
Yeah, we're both bald. So yes, that's the kind of thing I have to deal with at home.
Well done, young lady.
Yes, so
you got us good.
She did. I'd like to start actually now I'd like to now interject one that I think you will find very nice. Okay, because they weren't all roasts. There were a lot of really nice toasts. And Colin B, who is a free patron, said, "Thank you so much for sharing your good experience at Tepanetto with celiac disease. Because you did, we dined there and had the best time. My 6-year-old daughter has celiac and hasn't been able to experience hibachi locally. We all had a great time, and my daughter still talks about it. Congrats on 100 episodes."
That's cool, and that is why our family always keeps going back to Disney, because of that safety. We know that our family is going to be safe. I mean, of all the times we've always gone, we have and I'm not saying I'm not guaranteeing this, but we've never had a issue with cross-contamination with gluten. So we keep going back because of that confidence, and Disney just does it really well. The chef comes out and the chef says, hey, what kind of food allergy do you have? And we say, we have celiac disease. We can't have gluten. Right away, the chef knows. The chef says, hey, we can do this, 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 and this. And it just makes us feel that much better. So special thank you to, who was that person's name?
Colin B.
Thank you, Colin. I appreciate that.
Yep. This next one I want to read to you, you didn't see, but this came in right before an episode we recently recorded where you were talking about the topic that this person brings up. It is hilarious. So Courtney R., one of our patrons, says, I love how frequently Rob mentions his naps.
What?
Little Mermaid show naps? Carousel of Progress naps? It's hilarious.
I do.
I don't know how he stays awake during Navi River because that one had me dozing.
Oh my God.
And we had just talked about one of your naps recently. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, if he only knew.
Yeah. Little Mermaid, I saw 0% of that show.
Yeah.
I went in there, got into the AC, and I was so that I have slept during Carousel of Progress. I do love it, but I've slept in that. What else? I think Tiki Room I did once.
Well, and then you discussed how you slept through Frozen the movie.
I did. Yep.
Like, so you do like when the person sent it to me, I was like, what? And then she started listening off. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
But I don't know if I've ever said my longest sleep ever in an attraction in a park. My longest ever was Ellen's Energy Adventure. Because I think that ride's like 40 minutes, and I definitely was asleep for 30 of it.
That's funny. I never had to endure that one. So
to defend myself slightly, and Courtney, I'll take it. It's all good. We, when the kids were younger, not as much anymore, went hard. We went rope drop to close. That's the way we went, and we're going hard, and it's hot, and you're in a dark, air conditioned room, and. Well, sometimes it's hard to not get seepy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it is one of those things where what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
Now we have a few people brought up the mustard mayo ketchup. And so what I think is only appropriate is if we replay that whole situation right now so that those of you who are new don't have to go and search for it. Because I did this morning and picked it out and we cut it down. Here we go.
I feel like they got to sneak that by Joe Rohde. So Joe Rohde's the Imagineer that created
He's got a pretty
everything.
good sense of humor. I could see him getting it.
He does, but like everything ties into like keeping the world a better place and animals.
You don't think that ketchup and mustard and mayo make the world a better place?
Mayo does. I'm going to give you my short Diz list on those. Mustard is definitely 3.
What?
Yeah, wait till you hear my number 2. Number 2 is ketchup. Number 1 is mayo.
I would go...
Mayo's my number 1.
I'd go 1 mustard, 2 mayo, 3
You go
ketchup.
1... Wait, slow down. You're 1 mustard?
Yeah, man. I love...
This might be our most debated list we've ever had. You're number 1 mustard.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Ketchup doesn't belong on like much other than French fries.
See, I do mayo with French fries.
Yeah, well, you're honorary Canadian now.
All right. So I'm honorary Canadian now.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's kind of like a European and a French Canadian thing is the whole mayo with fries. At least in my experience, it has been when I'm in Montreal area.
I got into it when I went over to Europe with the band, and I would want ketchup, but I would order fries or pommes frites or whatever they're called, and I would get. They would have, it was 2 choices. It was mayo or vinegar.
Yeah, I love vinegar, though.
And vinegar's fine, too. And sometimes I would have vinegar, but, mayo became my... And truthfully, it's 50-50. It's ketchup half the time when I'm having fries, and it's mayo half the time when I'm having fries.
Our good friend Mikey, he didn't have a lot to say. He just said his favorite episodes are the villain origin stories.
Really?
And he said that
cool.
His favorite is to listen to you laughing. He said Rob's laugh.
Oh my God.
Which,
I figured he would say Star Wars episodes.
Yeah, maybe.
So Mikey's a friend of the show. I've known him for a very long time. He used to actually live in the area, kind of where we live now in Western New York. And we would go to all the Star Wars movies premieres together. And then he moved out to Boston. So shout out to my buddy Mikey.
Yeah. This one, it comes from another patron, Sherry. So Sherry actually did send us a nice little message to in our Instagram, but this one she said was one we could read. It says, "How in the world could I possibly roast you guys? I love the content you produce, and I look forward to both episodes every week. Between your teaching jobs, families, coaching, and banding, you all manage to somehow crank out super fun content and hang with us on social media. I truly appreciate it. Cheers to you both. And I look forward to toasting you all again for number 200.
Very cool.
So thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry.
She's always commenting and giving us some really good feedback on our episodes. which is great.
Cool.
We've been lucky enough to have some amazing people come into our lives because of this show. We've had some really cool interactions with our patrons and with our followers. We've also been lucky enough to meet and know some really cool other content creators. Not the least of which is our good friends Rob and Eric over at Ear Scouts. Mm-hmm. I think that early on, we mentioned this last week, I can't believe that we were little babies in this podcasting world, and episode 7, Rob was a guest of ours, and that was just like, what? Mm-hmm. So I had reached out early on when this concept of this show, this episode, and I said, hey, would you want to possibly do either a roast or a toast? And he sent it back to me pretty quickly, and I have not listened to it, and you have not listened to it, and I did not respond to Rob. I just kind of like let it go. He probably felt like I ghosted him, but I wanted it to be a surprise. So here's my thing. I want this to be we're going to play this, but we're going to record while it's playing.
Okay.
So that way, like if we laugh, you get to hear our reaction, kind of like a live studio audience.
Hi ho, Rob and Nick. This is your friend Rob with Ear Scouts. Congratulations on 100 episodes. That is such a huge achievement. And to celebrate, I came up with the top 5 podcasts I think that you two secretly wish you were recording instead. Number 5, Disney Condiment Blog. Top 5 condiments to add to all of your favorite Disney World treats. Number 4, Imagine That. Counting down all the times we were shocked that Eric from Ear Scouts doesn't like Figment, and then immediately talked about how much we hate Journey into Imagination with Figment. Number 3, Slinky Dog Trash. Counting down all the ways the park with tons of the best rides in all of Walt Disney World is actually a hot Hollywood mess.
Yeah, wow.
Number 2, All-Star Sports Report. Counting down the top 5 ways you can shoehorn a discussion about sports, and specifically the Buffalo Bills, into a Disney podcast.
Oh, wow. Maybe we're
and
converting.
And finally, the number 1 podcast I think you both secretly wish you were recording, Moving In with the Mouse. Top 5 reasons we finally did it and moved to Orlando, Florida. And in the spirit of the Diz list, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. These are podcasts that I think each of you wish you were doing solo. For Rob, I think it would be Gluten Tag, ranking the top Mickey-shaped food items that are also gluten-free. And for Nick, Disney Vacation Cult. Forget what you know about timeshares. We're counting down the top 5 reasons this is the single greatest vacation purchase of all time. I hope you guys are as excited about these new podcast ideas as I am, but most importantly, I want to say thank you so much for being such a great friend to us here at Ear Scouts, and keep doing the great work you're doing over at Dizlist Pod. Cheers to the next 100 episodes.
Well done.
Wow.
Well done.
We
have to unpack that a little bit now too.
I want to just say, I've never been so happy that I haven't peaked like for my Christmas presents. You know what I mean? I've never been that kid. And I'm glad that I'm not that kid, because that was so much fun listening to that with you.
Yeah.
And you got to have a thick skin a little bit.
Oh, it's
and
of course.
Disney Vacation Cult is that's pretty funny. And the gluten tag,
that was funny.
Yeah, man.
Let's see, Eric and how Eric hates
because
Figment.
His point was, did you get it? Like, he was basically saying, you guys like talk about why does Eric hate it, and then you turn the conversation directly to why it's the worst ride at Epcot.
Yeah,
which we do.
Well, and it's true. And I said quickly after he mentioned it that hopefully we're gonna hear soon that they're gonna make it better.
Yeah, that was great. And if you don't watch Ear Scouts already, hopefully that little glimpse into Rob and the great content he is making will make you go over there and watch him over on YouTube, because he is absolutely amazing, and he's a great friend of the show.
You know what game I like to play when I watch his station? Because you might play this game too.
What's that?
It's like, Where's Waldo? Who am I looking for?
Eric.
Oh,
Eric, yeah.
And Eric has been on so much more.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, I'll be watching it in the living room, and I'll go, "There's Eric!" And my wife beats her head, and I go, I saw Eric. I was excited.
So I think it's only appropriate after his roast, though, that I bring up that Sarah T, who is also a patron, that Sarah T, for her, what she said when I posted something, I said, last chance, what do you got to say?
Yeah.
And it's only appropriate we put this in here, and you're going to see why in a moment. Her only point to me was, go Bills.
Ah!
And what did I reply? Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Because you have to. And so, yes, Rob, we do shoehorn in some sports talk about the Buffalo Bills into a Disney podcast. But to be fair, they make Disney merch with all sorts of NFL teams on it and all sorts of Major League Baseball teams on it. So it makes sense.
And how can anyone not like Josh Allen?
I mean,
he's so likable. Even if I wasn't a Bills fan, I would be like, that guy's awesome.
Yeah, we're doing it again, though. Rob's like, see, I told you. That's funny. So Rob gave us that nice roast there. Let's go ahead and take a look now at a toast from one of our patrons, Melissa B. Melissa B, her toast the host was 5 ways the Diz List brightens my week when I listen, which I loved that title. Number 5, the funny peek behind the curtain of teaching.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be. Well, it might be funny, but
yeah, I don't know. We probably
it wouldn't be too positive.
Number 4, how much you both seem to care about each other's families. Which
we do.
That is very true. Number 3, practical tips from people who are not at Disney daily. I never thought about that, about how we bring a perspective that's different than a lot of the people who live right there. Although if Ear Scouts Rob's predictions are true, then maybe that'll change.
Maybe we're moving there.
Yeah.
At some point.
Your banter with each other. So we go back and forth at each other. And the connection to Ear Scouts. Eric mentioning your podcast is how I found you, and I don't miss an episode or a mini. Keep up the great work. So I'm not sure.
Maybe friends with Eric?
Yeah, I would like for
with Eric in the park.
I would love for Melissa or Eric to, when this comes out, let us know, because I don't know what the connection is there, but I love that that's a connection because I think it's great when we are passed on by word of mouth. So that's awesome.
Very cool.
So that was Melissa B and her toast of the host. I think it's funny she brought up banter. I got a message yesterday when I posted that thing.
Yeah.
And yesterday's was a message from somebody you know, actually the older sister of a former student. I don't think you taught her, but Stephanie P wrote in, and she said that she had very specifics, and I really appreciated what she did because she gave me the dates. And if you know, yeah, if you know Steph, I'm not shocked. She's kind of like me. She's kind of has those like, okay, this is when this happened. This is when this happened.
Yeah.
So she said my top 2 favorite Diz List things are the one-liners and the chuckles when Rob and Nick make each other laugh.
Oh yeah.
Every episode, and it's fun to see their friendship and learn about Disney. But those one-liners she brought up, I'm not even gonna tell you what they are. I want you to drag in the 2 one-liners, okay? And we're gonna do that right now.
It's Pokemon.
Shut your mouth. So
what was that a reference to?
So you were talking about the top 5 like money-making IPs.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, shut up, like shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Because I thought that you were referencing like Pokemon as Disney. And I'm like, Pokemon's not Disney. My mind at that point was like, how do I tell him it's not? Later on in the episode, I say, Pokemon's not Disney. And you're like, no, I meant worldwide. And I was like, oh, okay. But we were talking about it because you wanted me to guess what the number 1 was because that's higher money making wise than Mickey and Friends.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that was where that came from. And this next one, you're gonna know right away where it came from, and it is hilarious.
It was very claustrophobic. This thing fit right on me, and it was like tighter than being like in a coffin. And I'm not really like super claustrophobic.
How many times have you been in a coffin?
Well, I'm trying to compare it to something that would be similar to that. It was just very uncomfortable. That was a perfect setup to make like an Undertaker comment or something. How many times has the Undertaker been in a coffin? Oh,
now we're breaking wrestling. That maybe that's a new one for the 200th episode. Rob can throw in something about wrestling. So yeah, I just thought that was hilarious that like not only that, but she was like, "Hey, here are the dates that those episodes released." So I was
that's
like, "Thank
impressive."
You. Yeah, well, it made it very it made it a lot easier for me this morning when I was putting those two clips together. But I loved that. That was great. Jessica W., who is one of our original patrons. So
wow, one of the original 6.
yeah. Well, she was one of the original 2 because her and Stacy both signed up on the very first day.
Oh,
we talked about that last episode.
Yes.
So she has top 5-ish episodes.
Oh.
She cheated.
Okay,
and it's okay.
That's fine.
I give her.
Hey,
and,
this is listeners take over. I'm not going to say no.
So number 5, her episode 23, where you discuss cues. She said she thinks that Disney shines best here because of like the theming, and then said that she just loves that, and along with talking about the Easter eggs. Episode 5, the top animatronics, because her daughter is a video game designer.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to contact her because maybe she could talk to my computer science class.
That's cool.
And took a whole class in school on animatronics. She loves them, and her whole goal in going to Walt Disney World is seeing the animatronics. She loves Navi River more than Flight of Passage because of this. So this episode is a personal favorite.
Yeah, I could see that. That's part of the reason I like it too. Is just I like being I don't always like just watching a movie, and that's the most blunt way to describe that ride, and it's a great ride, but it literally is just a movie, but I like the immersive. I like the water, I like the smell, I like the sound, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Like when you think about it, that she brought up episode 23, episode 5. I mean, we're going way back. She's an OG.
Impressive.
So number 3, she says she cheated and has 2 episodes, 13 and 67.
Okay.
Where we talked about World Showcase pavilions. She said she believes World Showcase is so underrated in its artistry and opportunity for the parks.
Yep.
So she loved hearing us discuss this. Number 2, she said she cheated again, and that's okay. 41 and 42 because she really liked your trip report from Disneyland. And
I would have liked my trip report from Disneyland if I was listening to myself, because let me be clear, because that sounds
I know.
I think I'm awesome. No.
I know what you're saying.
If I hadn't been to Disneyland or California Adventure, that's what I would want to hear. So I watched so many videos and just prepped as much as I could, so that because I'm also a weirdo and I memorized the map and I know where everything is. So there was a ton of prep going into it.
Well, she said that was why she liked it so much.
Good.
She did. She also wanted me to pass along the message that not to worry about her. She did not wear new shoes.
Just look. There's something under the table I want you to take a look at there, Nick. Do you see what's under the
table?
Yeah,
some new Jordans.
Yeah.
Are you wearing those to Disney?
No.
Okay. There's no blood like in the
see
in the
those
heels.
shoes?
Oh,
those
yeah.
I'm wearing to Disney.
Yeah, those make sense.
Yeah.
And then number 1, episodes 51 and 87, things that you would never do again and things that make or break your trip. Because even for someone like her, who goes multiple times a year, those episodes are super informative and really narrow down the information. So thank you for telling us the episodes that made you the best. I'm not going to skip over it, even though it's a shot at me. She did have an honorable mention that was a little bit of a dig to me.
Meh. It's all right.
And
we both have thick skin. We can handle it.
This is actually a funny one, too.
Yeah.
And in fact, I remember when she wrote in about this initially, is episode 16, we talked about heroes. And I mentioned Peter Pan. And so she says, finally, because I couldn't resist a slight roast, my honorable mention, episode 16, where you mistakenly called Peter Pan a hero, even though he is clearly a man-child who abducts children in the night for his crazy cult. And she wrote the same message to me back when episode 16 released, and I actually talked about it on the following week on episode 17, and I actually found that in a reel that we did, because it was one of the ones I did an audiogram for. So
cool.
Thank you, Jessica, for being such an amazing patron, and you and Stacy were like in a dead sprint to hit the subscribe button, so I appreciate you.
That's cool.
So I mean, this has just been so far, like, these are great memories. Like, it's bringing up stuff that I'm like, I can't even believe, I'm gonna read something that I have not read yet because I was told not to.
Oh.
It's from our wives.
I think they did this today.
Yeah. Okay, I was told,
my God.
Do not read this.
I know what this.
I
know what this is.
It says, so
she's gonna be. My wife is gonna rip on me here. So this is gonna be good.
So it says, scroll down only when recording 100th episode. That's what my wife said.
Okay.
So it's a long one.
I haven't been nervous about any of them. She sees me at every. Oh my. Okay, just go.
Okay,
this could be good.
5 things listeners should know about the Disless co-hosts.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm worried.
Okay.
Like, I'm legit nervous.
Who's first, you or me?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh my God.
I'm going to scroll down.
Okay.
They are single-handedly keeping Disney vloggers in business. This is their go-to TV viewing.
Fact.
Okay, they're not wrong.
Even certain news organizations whose... Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
next one. Yeah. This next one is true as well. They spend more time with each other than they do with their wives, and are legitimately friends.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
They're the supporting characters in each other's side passions. Nick coaches the soccer games, and Rob does the scoreboard and announcing. Rob plays in the band, and Nick is the merch guy.
Oh, that's true.
They're like Han and Chewie, Woody and Buzz, Mike and Sully. I'm going to be honest. I thought they were going to be really mean to us.
That was good.
No, I thought they were going to be mean, though. They're so far they're being like really nice.
No, this is good.
I didn't even think about that. Like, you do the scoreboard and announcing,
I know.
I'm coaching, and I sell merch.
Yeah. No,
It's funny. In retirement, Nick and Rob will be living out their solo trip ideas from last week's episode, or so that's 2 weeks ago, while their wives tool around in a camper traveling across the country.
I want to do both.
Yeah. I don't know how we can work
I want
that
to take
out.
the camper to Disneyland.
They can drop us off? We could do that.
Maybe we have an amphicar, and that amphicar turns into a boat, and we drive, and we go across the ocean to Tokyo.
What? That's a big amphicar.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this one. This is really... Wow, they were really nice to us. They are their best selves when doing Disney, so please keep listening for their wives' sakes.
Wow.
But that's true. I mean,
Yes.
we definitely are... We joke about Disney Rob and Disney Nick.
It is the happiest version of ourselves.
Correct.
Yes. Even in the extreme heat.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, if I'm... Like, yesterday, I was doing garden work, and it wasn't hot, but it was sticky because it had rained in the morning. It was just nasty.
The air was thick.
And I was miserable. And I was thinking to myself, man, when I get like this in Disney, I don't get miserable. I get like, oh, whatever. I guess I'm going to have to go over to Baseline Tap House.
Yep.
And it's like, whatever happens, happens. It's like, take my credit card, go buy this. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so I guess, so that was way nicer than I thought. Like, I guess it's because we know what we would have done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We would have roasted. It would have been a roast.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So,
There we go. There we go.
oh my God.
I had to throw that in at once.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. I've got a whole big list here of stuff that I haven't gotten to. So Rob actually wrote in when I posted something. So Rob gave his own memory, even though last week
Oh my God, I don't even remember what I wrote.
he said my favorite moment is when Logic loads.
That's the computer program that we use to record.
Yep.
And it's funny because we're in the same room and we're a couple feet apart, but my eye goes from having a normal conversation with Nick, and I'm doing it now, and I glance over at the screen just to make sure it's still recording and the program is not quitting on
We've
us.
had times where you're like, oh no, stop. We're not recording.
Yeah.
Not because of you, just because it randomly stopped.
Yep.
So Travis P., this is the one I could not find. Okay, I could not find this clip. I recall what it was, and it's definitely a deep cut. Travis P. says, the Frozen ride / show discussion. Do you remember this?
Yeah. When I said the wrong name for the show.
Yeah, you called the show Frozen Ever After.
Yeah.
And
I
then
had it backwards.
And whatever it was. But for the life of me, I looked this morning. I couldn't find the episode, but that was one of Travis P.'s favorite memories. I already said Mikey's. My son already said. I will say that I forgot to mention last week, one of my favorite memories, and I'm sure one of yours, was having our sons on.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a nice job.
They did.
I don't know if we have the daughters on. Maybe we have to have the daughters together because one of them's going to have to keep the other one in check.
I don't know. Well, which one's going to keep which one in check?
Who knows?
I think your daughter probably has to keep my daughter in check.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have some people who wrote in that are not patrons, but that doesn't mean they can't be included today.
Let's include everybody. Why
That's
not?
right. At Magical Travel with Katrina says, no roast here. I just love your podcast.
Cool.
At Vacay with Amanda, who is she actually sponsored an episode. So at Vacay with Amanda, you want to go plan your trip? This one, we're going to free ad for her right now because she's amazing. She always comments. She always helps us out. But at Vacay with Amanda said, way to go. Congrats on 100. And here's to another 100.
Here, I'm actually I have a message for Amanda.
Yeah.
So the other day, my wife and I were actually, my wife found this on TikTok and she sent it to me. She goes, "Is this real?" And there was a woman who did this TikTok reel about how it was cheaper to go to Tokyo Disney. Have you seen this at all?
No.
It was cheaper to go to Tokyo Disney than it was to go to Disney World. And we're trying to figure that out. So I guess my question, Amanda, right? That's her name?
Yeah.
My wife's name's Amanda too. So my question for Amanda is that true or false or what? Like,
I'm certain it is. I would bet.
You think it's true?
Oh, for sure.
You think it's cheaper for the plane ticket and the park ticket in Tokyo?
I think with exchange and stuff, I'll bet it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, a trip to Disneyland Paris is as long if you're not staying right at Disneyland, or if you're staying in one of the cheaper hotels, I'll bet you a trip to Disneyland Paris is cheaper too.
Sheesh.
Orlando's expensive, man.
Man.
United States is expensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
Okay. Anyway, let me know, Amanda.
Yeah. Of Mice and Main Street Men, who is another podcast you guys should go check out.
It's a cool name.
Yeah. Yeah. They said, much love, dudes. You're on my top 5 Disney pods list. Love the vibe. And they also asked us to collab. So we gotta get on that.
Cool.
We gotta get on that one.
I'm in.
At Bree Trick. You guys are awesome, and I get excited for new podcasts. Thank you for the entertaining conversations with laughter, but also full of honesty, reviews, and ideas.
Let us know if the laughter is too much, because I listened to another podcast where the gentleman will laugh for about 20 to 30 seconds. And I look at my watch. I'm like, all right, let's get back to the talk, please.
Yeah. We definitely go off on some tangents. That's for sure.
And it's usually Buffalo Bills, but we try not to.
Listen, in all seriousness, I just want to extend a huge thank you to my family, because while our wives joke that we spend more time with each other, although when you throw in the fact that we work together, it might be true actually.
Yeah.
We can't do that if not for them.
Yeah. And my family too, for letting us have this time.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Our families in general, like,
yeah, it's cool.
And the fact that, your son knows if this door is closed, that he is not to talk. And if he does talk,
yelling on Fortnite.
Yeah. If he does talk, that dad's gonna text him from the other room. I always know when Rob has heard something going on in the other room, because I see him pick up his phone and
texting,
and the little vein on the side of his head starts to. No, but
Yep.
but seriously, like, without them, we wouldn't be doing this. So while we say, the patrons and the listeners, they're important. Don't get me wrong, but our family they're huge supporters.
Absolutely.
So that's huge. It's been a ride, man.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun.
It's cool. I'm looking to do 100 more.
Yeah, and I hope that you guys know what it means to us that you even thought to write in. Those of you who wrote in, and those of you who didn't write in, but follow us. Like, thank you so much. It really is humbling, to say the least. And it's funny because we've become those Disney people. Not like, when I say those Disney people, I mean like we become the people that, okay, I've got to ask, like, what do you do? Where would you go? My cousin, like, sending me messages, hey, what should I do for this trip or whatever? And
sometimes I'm wrong. We had this conversation the other day.
We're both, yeah. Happens all the time.
My friend Brian, with so many different Brians that listen to the show, we found out. But my friend Brian and Vinny were in the parks, and we were texting back and forth, and I was like, I don't think that's the right move. And then he comes back with, well, Ear Scouts Rob says this, and then we looked it up, and Ear Scouts Rob was right.
Yeah.
But so he goes, well, I've been doing my homework. I'm like, good for you, man.
Yeah,
it's okay. We're not always right either. That's why it's an opinion-based show.
It was a right choice. You have anything to add?
I was taking a sip of my coffee.
That's fine. At least you weren't. At least I wasn't telling a joke. We would have gotten a spit take.
I think this is. It's such a fun, consistent thing to do every week, and it's never really gotten to the point where it's been a burden. It's always something that I look forward to, and it's exciting, and I don't ever think of it as a chore. You know what I mean? Like, the few times that we have to reschedule, it's not a huge deal, and we're both pretty flexible about that, because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I'm really into music and sports, but Disney it makes you happy. Always makes you happy, because Disney is not losing to the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So sometimes we get frustrated with our team because there's a win and there's a loss. Disney is always winning for me, so it's always making me happy.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of a good way to end, is always cheering me up. I always enjoy having this conversation. And so, yeah. And I did have to bring the Bills in one last time.
Yeah. For me, I just wanted to say one more time to thank the listeners, thank our families, but also thank you, Rob, for doing this, because it's a lot of fun. And that's what I would say. And if you're listening thinking that this is a persona, or this is something that they lean into to kind of like make up, trust me when I say this is us. You get us when we're in a bad mood. You get us when we're in a good mood. You get us after school sometimes. You get us before, on a Sunday. You get us while we're watching our favorite sports teams because they're playing in the morning, like right now. You get us.
The Bills.
No, you get us. All sorts of different ways, and it's really us. And I thank Rob for being that person that can. I can have these conversations with that are worthwhile enough that people would want to listen to it. So,
well, and it's funny too. If we just hit the record button during our off periods at school too, we could publish those.
Yeah, maybe that's our next minis. We could have a whole other tier.
Nick walks in. Did you see what was posted today? No, what? Well, and then it turns into this conversation.
And it's some ridiculousness about.
Well, then it's kind of like. It's our research for what's going to happen on our recording day.
Yeah. So thank you very much for going on this trip with us these last couple of years. Remember, sign up for Patreon on the Dumbo Pilot or the Jungle Skipper level, and you'll get a pin as long as you sign up before the end of July. We'll also going to go and maybe do some giveaways at some point on social media that we wanted to do.
Yeah, and we're going to try to be, one thing we're looking to the future to do is we're going to try to be on our social media a little bit more.
Yeah, we need to be more visible.
Yep. And I think it's fun. I think it's an easy thing to do. And, we're trying to go a little bit further with it too. And so.
I would also put it out there that if you see us posting from the park anytime and you happen to be in the parks or around the parks, let us know. Mm-hmm. We'd love to meet up, take a picture or two, and, just hang out for a little bit there. But, thank you so much for everything. And, we're going to be back to our normal episodes in the next week, but the last two episodes have been fun, kind of rehashing some of the old memories that we've had. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.
The Bills make me wanna shout, kick your heels up and shout.